guys, Ricardo with Phastek Performance.
Jason calls out of here, Phastek Performance.
And today we have lined out for you guys our headers, long tube, short tube, mid pipes, catted connections, non-catted connections, anything you guys have going on as far as headers are concerned. I got a factory manifold here, for example. I also got a Shorty. This one's a JBA, their titanium coating. And we got stainless power here to kind of show you the differences between what the options are, along with the a catted connection pipe. There's also non-catted available for these, but something to kind of give you guys a little bit of example as far as what's available, what y'all need, and what's going on with them. So we'll kind of start with the factory connection, or the factory manifold. As you guys can see, this one's off our 2010 SS that we had, a red one that some of you guys have kicked up with us for a while. You might have seen it. Eventually became our turbo car. Got a big motor and stuff put in it, so we obviously got rid of these. But with that car, we kind of tested some stuff out. Bring the camera a little closer. We kind of tested some stuff out, and what we found out was that these were very restrictive. You know, as you can kind of see the different ports available for it and everything. But we opted out for these, and we eventually, you know, like I said, we did the turbo system, and we went with it. We had the manifolds on there for a while with the Turbonetics kit, but we eventually put the JBA in place and tested those out, and we actually picked up a little bit of power with the Shorty headers.
But let's talk about Shorty headers though real quick. Let's talk about, you know, a lot of people have this misconceptions like it's kind of a waste. You're not going to really get anything out of doing a Shorty header. And that's not exactly true. Now, with the Shorty header, this is one of the JBA ones. Hold that for me real quick. Yep. So, factory manifold right here. JBA 1 3/4 pipe. Obviously, it's a lot bigger. Obviously, it's a little darker than you're not going to be able to see, but you can see the kind of the flood will go through it. Now, the thing about the JBA and Shorty headers, like this one, BBK, some of the other ones, is that it's going to roughly give you around 10 to 15 horsepower. Right. I'm going to say realistically, you're going to get about 10 horsepower out of these.
Right around there.
Whereas the factory manifold over the factory manifold. So it's definitely a nice addition for those guys that are in carb legal states.
Yes.
And you're worried about, and now that 10 horsepower, that is with the factory catalytic converters, guys.
Yes, factory catalytic converters.
And no tune. That's what makes it nice. There's no tune. You don't have to do a tune to it.
No.
The other thing about this is that the JBA are carb legal.
Yes.
So what that means is if you're in California, Oregon, Washington, those states over there, if you're worried about carb, these are carb legal. So you can bolt on headers. Now, this particular header here is the titanium header, titanium finish. Now this obviously is what it looks like after being on the car.
Yeah, this one's been a little used. It's got a little scratches on it.
Probably on there for about a couple thousand miles, but that's what it's going to look like. So over time, the titanium is going to get a little bit grayer. And we ran this, like I said, we backed this up with a turbo, so we had back pressure on it, so it had some heat on it.
Oh yeah, I think at one point we had them glowing when we were tuning, and then we had them glowing pretty good. So but they did great. They held up very well. You know, like Jason was saying, these are the titanium ones. I forgot which ones we ended up leaving on the car. But the ones we have on the car have been working out since then, so we haven't had any problems out of it. But like I said, these are the 5th gen headers. To kind of give you guys some insight, JBA does have some 6th gen Shorty headers that they are coming out with that are going to be carb legal. So you 6th gen guys, be on the lookout for that. So those should be here pretty soon. But those are the kind of the differences with the JBA and the factory manifold. And then obviously the cat pipes, like you said earlier.
So you have a couple different options with the cat pipes, right?
Yes. Yeah, a couple of different options. You got the catted or the non-catted. This one's obviously the catted. What does the cat look like on the inside? A lot of them are going to look like this. So you get a lot of manufacturers that just have their different styles, different designs, but a lot of them are going to have that honeycomb look to it. So just to kind of give you a little insight as far as what it's going to look like, that's what the inside's going to look like. Like I said, this is the catted. They have a non-catted version, which the non-catted version is basically just a straight pipe that follows all the way through. This is going to bolt up to your factory manifold right there. It comes with supplied hardware. Kind of show you what it's going to look like. Bolt it up, it's going to look like that.
So these will bolt up to your factory manifold, and they'll also bolt up to your aftermarket Shorty header as well.
Yeah.
So what's nice about this is, okay, so if you combine that header or that manifold with this pipe here, you're roughly going to see, I want to say it's about 15.
Yeah.
15 is what you're going to see with the high flow cats bolted up to the factory manifold. Bolting up to the Shorty header, which is a little bit more free flowing, bolted up to the high flow cat pipe. Without a tune, you'll probably see roughly with the tune, I would say you're probably going to see close to probably about 25.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
25 to 30 almost.
Yeah, depending on the tune.
So it's it's an option for you guys. So you guys in California, carb legal, you can add that.
Yes. These unfortunately are not carb legal.
Right.
So unfortunately the California guys, you have to have the factory catalytic converter on the car in order for them to stay carb legal. So Shorty headers, you're good, you pass, no problem. High flow cats, unfortunately not.
They're not, but you could always bolt it up to that. That's a carb legal. You get a carb sticker for that there.
Yes.
So
well, the cool thing about it is, for you guys in California that kind of still want to stay carb legal, these are easy to bolt on. Really don't take all that long. 2 bolts there, and then you have the factory clamp that holds it in here. So you loosen those 2 bolts. This drops down a little bit. Loosen that factory clamp, slides right out.
Yeah.
So pretty.
No, we don't have the gaskets here. They're still in the box, but it does come with a gasket as well. Yeah.
And
it's going to come and the hardware, so you'll get everything that you're going to need for that. Yeah.
And here's the thing about the connection pipes is that you don't need O2 extensions. You don't need anything special as far as harnesses are concerned. So your factory O2s are going to go right back in place. You're going to plug right back in the factory connector as compared to like a long tube header, which gives you the extension harness that you need. So that's something to also keep in mind. So
there's a misconception. What we hear with these high flow cat pipes is a lot of times they'll say you don't need a tune. You have a 50-50 chance, man. 50-50 chance you're going to need a tune or you're not going to need a tune. But there again, if you're looking for something that's free flowing, it's going to give you some more ponies, and without having to switch out to a complete set of long tube headers, that's a good benefit right there. High flow catalytic converter pipes, and like I said, we also offer the cat converter pipes without cats in it, so it's just a straight pipe. Obviously, there's a price difference in them, but it does allow you to run it, get more power out of it.
We also get some questions as far as what's it going to sound like versus catted or non-catted?
It's a good question.
Well,
it's good.
One of the main things that kind of comes up is that the catted versions are going to clean the sound up a little bit, so you're not going to get all that rasp out of it. A non-catted pipe, you basically have all that gas just pushing all the way through, so you're going to get a lot of rasp out of the exhaust. So it's something to kind of keep in mind, kind of where you want to go. As far as power-wise, you're going to make about the same power, catted or non-catted. Again, it kind of depends on the tune, but it's something to keep in mind as far as how you want the car to sound. Obviously, if you have the factory system, it kind of stays a little cleaner just because the factory mufflers are kind of restrictive. But if you have an aftermarket system, those really kind of amplify everything. So keep that in mind. Catted will clean up the sound. Non-catted, you'll get a little bit of rasp out of it.
Yeah, so and that's definitely brought a good point, man. You're going to get a better sound. So if you already have an exhaust and you want some better sound out of it, you can throw on some of these right here. Installation time literally probably take you by the time you put the car up and jack it up. You probably have about an hour and a half all the way around by the time you're done installing them.
Yeah, really not that long. I want to say that probably the hardest part as far as doing something like this or the non-catted, it's probably going to be the tune. That's probably going to be the longest part. You're going to make sure the tuner's got everything dialed in correctly. He's probably going to take just as long as you took to install them, hour and a half. So they're about that long. So
here's your these Shorty headers here. They're 1 3/4 inch. We offer others like the Borla, which are 1 5/8 inch. I want to say that the BBK as well are 1 3/4 inch as well. So these are some options for Shorty headers. Like I said, these are the ones from JBA. These come in 3 different finishes. This is the titanium. You can also get it in raw stainless, and you can also get it in polished silver ceramic as well.
The stainless will kind of look like this version right here. We're just raw material. What a lot of the long tube headers manufacturers, that just that raw finish. The other version is just going to be a little shinier, but that color will go away once you get some heat into it. So
just so you guys know that these headers here and these mid pipes, they will fit a 2010 to 2015 Camaro SS. They will also fit the 2012 to 2015 ZL1.
Right.
And guys, again, if you're running the Turbonetic single turbo kit, and you're looking for a shorty header that is going to work with your kit, this is the one that's going to work.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to find that if you try to use a BBK or something like that, they're not going to work with the Turbonex kit. Obviously, you have factory manifold, or this JBA header here will fit, as well as this, this pipe right here. If you want to add a pipe like this to a Turbonex kit, that will also fit. Do you need a tune after installing long tube headers, high flow cats? Robert, you will need a tune. Yes, you will. Definitely. Does a tune void factory warranty, Steve? Yes, it will void your factory warranty. So
the only reason it really kind of voids it is because you take the factory catalytic converter and you modify it. So you took it off the car, and that's really kind of warranty doesn't want you to do. They don't want you to touch the factory catalytic converter, and then it also affects the tune that you'll have to get as well. Basically, anytime you do a tune in the car, typically we'll void the warranty at that point. So,
you're welcome, Robert. So that kind of touches on the shorty headers. We get a lot of questions about what do I do? Do I do shorty or do I do long tube? That is kind of all up to you as the customer and in your situation. Some people just want the better look underneath the hood without completely breaking the bank. And again, like we said, you can bolt these headers on and they do not require a tune at all.
Right. These will go right back into the factory location, right onto the factory catalytic converter. 50 state legal, so you guys in California, these are kind of your options right now. I want to say JBA is the only one right now that has the 50 state legal.
America Racing.
Oh, American Racing.
There's two people. America Racing does well, but you're going to pay. The America Racing is definitely a nice header. It's a lot more than this JBA header here is, and it's also custom. That's something that's going to take 1 to 2 weeks before you're going to get shipped out to where this is on the shelf.
Always available.
Yeah.
Always have these rolling in and out. So that kind of touches on the shorty headers. So we'll also get some questions as far as long tube headers. So we'll kind of touch on that a little bit. As far as what kind of questions do we get, what are my options? What's available? What do I have to do? Well, here's the thing about some short, long tube headers. You have a couple of different options when it comes to long tubes. Okay, now, like I said, this is a stainless power, 1 7/8", 304 stainless. So I mean, the 1 7/8 primary, 3-inch collector. They bolt right in place, no problems with them. There's also the 1 3/4" that's available, and up to a 2-inch, depending on the brand. I want to say Cooks and American Racing, they have their 2-inch options. You have the Performance Connect option. So there's a lot of different things that you can kind of do with the long tube header. But to kind of start off, we'll start off with the 1 3/4. The 1 3/4, where those kind of came into play was early on when the Camaro first came out. They decided to do the 1 3/4 just because a lot of the 4th gen Camaros were very popular with the 1 3/4. So when manufacturers started coming out with the headers, they did the 1 3/4 first, and then they stepped it up to the 1 7/8. Then they found out that the 1 7/8 made a little bit more power and was a lot more popular. So that's where the kind of differences are between 1 3/4, 1 7/8, and then obviously you have the 2-inch setup. So it kind of varies. Typically, most guys are going to go with the 1 7/8. The 1 3/4, those for the guys that want the header look, but they kind of make about the same amount of power as the 1 7/8 and 3/4. So.
Okay, the thing about the other thing with 1 3/4 is some people say it makes a little bit more low in torque. I haven't seen it. To me, the 1 7/8 is the optimal size for your Camaro. Yeah. It's going to make good power. You're going to have good torque. So you got better size. The thing is like Ricardo was saying, is yes, the 4th gen was huge on the 1 3/4. So you'll see now that a lot of manufacturers don't even want to sell the 1 3/4 anymore. It's like Cooks, American Racing. They don't even want to offer it because 1 7/8 is so much more popular. Right. It's flows better. It's popular. It's by far the #1 choice of header is an 1 7/8. Now, like you said, these are the stainless power headers right here. These are 1 7/8, 065 wall, 304 stainless steel. These are by far probably one of our most popular sets of headers that we sell, for the simple fact is that they're economically priced. What's nice about them, like Ricardo said, is they fit well. They're not like some other manufacturers you see out there, eBay style and so on and so forth, that where you have to dent the header in with your own hammer to clear. These will not. These clear fine. They'll work on everything from 2010 to 2015 Camaro. They work great on ZL1s. We put them on ZL1s. We made good power out of them. And like I said, these are by far probably one of the best headers out there. The nice thing about it is you have options. We're tell about some of the options that you have in between cat and non-catted.
Okay, so kind of touching on the catted and non-catted. So this is what a non-catted pipe is going to look like. As you can see, it's straight. There's nothing to it. Okay, so pretty much what that is going to do is going to plug right on here, and it's going to go just connect and make the connections. There's absolutely nothing, no cat, no nothing, straight pipe. That's the non-catted connection. Okay, the catted connection is going to have this honeycomb style cat in there. So now different manufacturers have different ways that they build these catalytic converters, but they are all essentially the same. They're all going to have this honeycomb look to them. So,
which I think believe these are like a submetal straight is what they're called.
Yeah, different materials. So I mean, they're all just going to have that same similar look, and there are going to be different connections. Like we said, this is the stainless power. Cooks has their ball flange that they use along with American Racing. Stainless power still has the slip version. So all you're going to do is you're going to take this connection pipe and slip it in place. So all you got to do is slips on, slips off, and then it necks down to the 2.5 inch, as you can see here. So it goes from the 3 inch to the 2.5 inch. Why does it do that? Well, because it does that because it's going to go from basically the 3 inch header, collector, and everything, and it's going to neck down to your factory 2.5 inch system. So you can bolt it up to a catback system that you might already have, a Borla, a Corsa, even a Stainless Works system. So I mean, any of those, it's going to bolt right up to it. Now there are a couple of options that are available as far as Performance Connect, and you'll kind of hear it referred to back more as for Stainless Power and Stainless Works. They do their Performance Connect. What that is basically a 3 inch option that all the way through that comes back into your exhaust system. So that's a 3 inch Performance Connect. So obviously prices change with the different options, but Stainless Power and this connection are reasonably priced, as Jason said earlier.
So something else about these headers as well, look, as you're going to see is when you flip it around here, you're going to notice that that it has a cone in it as well. This helps push all the gases together. I don't know if you can kind of see that little light in there. That's the tip of the cone. And that helps push it together. Now, so you can see that they are welded on the inside where all the tubes go together. They're welded on the outside here as well. So these are, again, like I said, these are from Stainless Works. It's a Stainless Power brand is what it is.
Yeah. I don't know if you can get in here, Jason. A lot of guys are like, make sure the insides and everything is welded. Might be hard
that's
to
what I meant by being welded out.
In there, it is all welded down in the center. So everything is absolutely sealed.
Yeah, like I say, and again, like I'll show you all the flanges. Look how nice the flanges on these are. You know, welded on the insides. There's nothing blocking the flow at all when it comes to these headers right here. And you're going to find the same thing on the Cooks, American Racing. You know, they definitely all put a nice quality amount of work into these things. 304 stainless steel. And so power-wise, let's talk power with numbers.
Okay.
So automatic car, guys, you know, 2010 to 2015, in your stock number, you're around 331 to the tire, okay? These are going to roughly put you anywhere from about, with the tune, okay, these numbers I'm giving you with the tune, they're going to put you around 365 to about 375. That's going to be the final rear wheel number. Just doing this, obviously, with the tune and with the cold air induction, that's the numbers you're going to get.
Definitely. Which is a good increase. I mean, if you really kind of think about it, that number kind of takes you from it's a different feeling, a different car once you got everything adjusted. It's not only, you know, the power that you pick up, it's also the transmission files that they also update. Typically when a lot of tuners, when they do a tune, is they'll update the transmission files to go along with what they changed in the ECM. So the car will, a lot of guys kind of think, well, that's not a whole lot of power. But the car is going to actually feel faster just because of the updates they give the transmission.
That's right. And so
to keep in mind.
Here's the other thing too. So now we talked about the automatic, the manual car. Manual car, factory to the tires. You're on obviously when we talk these numbers, guys, we're not talking about Mustang Dyno. We're talking about a Dyno Jet. Okay, so what you're going to see generally on a stock car, 2010 to 2015 SS, you'll be around 370 to the rear wheels. These headers, once they're bolted on, tuned with the cold air induction on manual car, you're going to see in the neighborhood of around 420 to 425. Some people say they get around 415, but there again, it all has to do with how hot the car is. But generally, you're going to see on a set of long tube headers like this right here, 1 7/8, you're going to see around 420 to the rear wheels.
And also remember, guys, climate conditions also play a factor into the power numbers
on the dyno.
On the dyno. You know, so if it's a hot summer day here in Texas, you know, it's 115 degrees in midday as compared to somewhere in South Dakota where you're a nice cool 60 degrees in summer. You know, so I mean, it really kind of depends. You know, so but on average, you will pick up about the same thing. It just depends on where your number is going to be compared to where you're located. You know, so keep that in mind too when it comes to the power numbers.
So Dak, we'll go back to Dak's question real quick about installation time on shorty headers. Shorty headers, it depends on how you install them. There's two different ways that you can install these guys. Right. Obviously, you definitely, the way I recommend installing shorty headers is taking the whole manifold and with the factory pipe that would be on here. I recommend taking it off altogether, splitting it apart outside the car, bolting your cat pipe back up to this, and putting it back up in the car. That's definitely what I recommend. It's basically going to run you probably about 2 hours.
Probably about 2 hours. And it sounds like a lot of work. You know, kind of talking about it, it sounds like, man, I gotta take the whole thing down just because it sounds like it, just because it's one big piece. But if you guys really think about it, it's just these bolts here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you got your main, you got your slip fitting down back here at the back on your factory system. So, what's a little bit faster, doing it on the car, doing it off the car? I'm going to say doing it off the car. I'm going to agree with Jason.
Off the car, because here's like, you do not want to pull it up through the engine bay. If you try to pull it up through the engine bay, you're just going to tear up harnesses, scratch stuff up. They have to come out the bottom of the car.
We tried it, guys.
We know.
I mean, we tried it, especially when we had our turbonetics kit system in, and it was like, man, what do we do? Do we go through the bottom? Do we go through the top? There was obviously a little bit more room through the top. Once we got everything kind of removed, as far as like the coil packs and all that stuff, everything kind of has to come out. But still, going through the bottom was a lot easier. So
a lot of guys, what they'll do is they'll take the bolts out of here, all the stuff off of here, and then it's like, oh, let me pull it out through the top. No, drop it out, the whole thing through the bottom, and then split it apart on the ground.
A lot easier. The factory cat actually has studs that come up through here, and then you have the nut on this side. So it's going everything through the top. Going to make it a little bit more difficult.
And that's all shorty headers, guys. We've installed the Headman, we've installed the BBK, we've installed the JBA. It's all the same. They
all work the same.
You definitely want to do that through there. What's the power difference between regular cats and green cats? I honestly don't know.
Man, I mean, I don't think there's a power difference.
I don't think.
I think the difference is just the certification that they got. Other than that, that's it.
Yeah.
As far as power-wise, you're going to make about the same power between green cats or just the regular standard high-flow cats.
And that's the thing. Do we really recommend people to get green cats? Here's the thing about green cats, and the reason green cats are here is so people say that I don't get a check engine light. I pass it, but to me that's not true. No. I still think we still get people that say, "Hey man, I got green cats. I still have a check engine light."
It's going to happen. We haven't really come across anything that's not going to cause you to get a check engine light.
Yeah.
There's these simple tricks and ideas that people have. We've tried them. No luck, unfortunately. It's just something that, we'll try and figure out. If there's a little bung extension we can put on here to keep you from getting a check engine light.
There are extenders. People have tried extenders. I personally don't think they don't work well.
We've tried them. We've tried them. We've put them on, and they did not work. So, that's one reason we kind of steer away from it, because a tune is just essentially going to help you in the long run.
Exactly. Randy Tyler should be able to squeeze more out of power in auto without bolt-ons with just a tune. Factory restricts the auto transmission to protect it. It does. Yes. Okay, so Randy, it does. Yes. It does restrict the transmission. That's to save it. Yes. That is true. But you're not going to get, to me personally, you're not going to pick up from 331 to 370 to the tires with just a tune. Unfortunately, we've tried it, seen it. The thing, if you are, you're really pushing the timing on that car, and that could be detrimental.
Yeah, at least not on a fifth gen.
Yeah,
the fifth gen, they really like the long tube headers. The inch and 7/8, they really like those. Guys ask, that one thing we didn't touch on. Guys ask, what's the difference between an inch and 7/8 and a 2-inch header? 2-inch header we usually suggest if you're making a lot of power, and when I say a lot of power, you're in the 800-900 range, 1,000 range. You got a big cubic inch motor, big cam in it, possibly a supercharger, a turbo system hooked up to it. Then you need to set up to a 2-inch.
Yeah, stroker motor. Yeah. Big cubic inches, 2 inches.
2-inch. You need a 2-inch header at that point. Inch and 7/8, you are going to be just fine if you plan on keeping a factory motor, maybe adding some heads, cam, factory cubic inches. You'll be just fine with the inch and 7/8. You know, even the supercharged guys, you'll be fine on a factory cubic inch setup with the inch and 7/8. So just kind of debug some of those. That's our opinion.
Yeah.
That's what we think. You know, I mean, we've tested it, like you said, on a ZL1. We've tested them on our shop car, our shop fit gen that we had a couple years ago. So I mean, we've tested a lot of different things and everything we've kind of come across.
Randy, shift points are a major difference.
Oh, yeah.
Shift points are huge, man. Huge. Okay, if you have an automatic Camaro and you do a performance tune and you don't do anything with the transmission, you have wasted everything you've done, because without adjusting the shift points and torque management on the car is useless. I agree with you 100% on that, man. 100%. So let's talk about long tube headers again. Let's say you want to do a camshaft and you did not do long tube headers. The benefit is in the headers for the most part. So for instance, we'll use an automatic. Perfect example.
Right.
Perfect example is like an automatic cammed car. If you did headers on it, you're around 375. You throw a cam in there, you're at 425. That's basically a 90 horsepower gain over the factory, over stock. That's with long tube headers, air induction, and a cam. That's generally where you're going to be on a cam that's not going to tear up your valve train. 425 to the tires, automatic. At that point, obviously, I can touch a little bit farther. You would need a converter, you know, on something that's going to produce you that much. I would say probably around 3,200 stall to start out with.
And let's kind of touch on that a little bit. I mean, you know, so you did a cam. Let's take the exact same setup. You did a cam and everything as far as on that automatic car, and you didn't upgrade from the factory manifold, which looks like this, to some headers. Well, here's kind of the differences, kind of what you're going to see. This is a factory manifold. As you can see, a lot of guys refer to it as a log. Okay, so why do they call it a log? Well, because you have this main primary tube that's here. It's a cast material. It's nothing. It's not stainless. It's not anything special. So you have this log here, and then each one comes into it. Okay, so you have all this pressure trying to come out of this one exhaust port right here. So you have everything you got. Let's say you upgraded the cam. Well, you have all that more air, all that more pressure, all that more fuel, everything trying to get out of here of this same log. So this is going to be very restrictive when you go to do that. If you step up to a shorty header, it's better, okay, but it's still a little bit more restrictive as compared to a long tube. So with the shorty header, you have each one that has its own, yes, but they come into a short collector right here at the center, you know. So like even this pipe right here, look how short that pipe is right there. So it's kind of something to think about. If you have a cam or a boosted application, is a shorty header perfect for you? Possibly. It just depends on your setup.
The thing is, like you said, it's all going to neck together. This is all going to come neck together right here.
Yeah.
It hits everywhere through. That's why it's a power killer.
Yeah.
This here, obviously, that's why we say with the shorty header, you're going to gain about 10. It, obviously, like you pointed out very well, is the fact that all the tubes go into there at the collector right there, and bam, it collects right here. Let's go ahead and let's talk about that long tube.
So we'll talk about the long tube. So we got the shorty here, and we got the shorty header there, and we got the long tube. Each individual
long tube.
Long tube. You know, that's why they call it a long tube. These are the long tubes. Each individual runner is going to meet down here at the bottom, at the collector. Because then at that point,
you're at the exhaust.
You're at the exhaust already at that point, so it doesn't matter. So everything past here is not going to make much of a difference. You know, so, but it's all in the header and how it all escapes the car, or the motor itself. You know, it's kind of like you'll hear a lot of engineers and everything refer to an engine as an air pump. Well, the more you pump in, the more you got to pump out. So you take an inch and 3/4 collector right here, or you can take an inch and 7/8. Which one's going to flow more? Obviously, the inch and 7/8 is going to flow a little bit more. So it's not kind of something to think about, guys. You know, as far as where you're going with your setup.
Yeah.
I understand. You know, you might not have it in budget. I understand, but if you save a little bit, save a couple bucks for the next month, 2 months to get yourself a good set of headers, it's going to pay off.
And like these headers here, they start out at $742 shipped. Yeah. That's okay. That's with this option right here. That's with the no cats.
No cats.
Okay, it comes with the connection pipes, will connect right to your header. I mean, to your factory exhaust or aftermarket. And then obviously for a little bit more money, you step up to the high flow cat if you don't want it. Now, why would you want a high flow cat? Well, the high flow cat's gonna kill a lot of your smell more than anything. I mean, we're performance guys, right? I mean, you're still gonna have to get the car tuned. You know, depending on what state you're on, you're gonna pass inspection with either one of these, because on most cars you have to pass at least you can fail one readiness code, and then you're good to go.
Like I know here in Texas we're talking about inspection a little bit. I know here in Texas we have to have a visual inspection of the catalytic converter. So when the inspector crawls under the car, looks under the car, and he sees a hollow tube, then he might be more likely to not pass you.
Yeah.
If you see something that looks like a caddy pipe, well, then he might pass you, no problem.
Yeah, but your number one, like I say, guys, your number one thing for adding power to your Fitch and Camaro, it's gonna be right here. It's gonna be your long tube header. Yeah. Is it worth changing out the factory X pipe on the 16 SS? I think for for sound more than anything is what it's going to be for. Sound for anything.
You know, a lot of guys touching on the 16 exhaust. A lot of guys are worried about that crush pipe. Talking to a couple of engineers over at SEMA and everything, and what we've learned and heard from different people, that pipe right there in the back that's crushed, engineers didn't see anything happen to it. You know, and they plug all the kind of sensors and everything on their test cars, and they saw absolutely no drop in power, no drop in flow, no drop in anything between a straight pipe or a crush pipe. It's the same thing either way.
Yeah.
So it's really going to be more for sound. To answer your question, more for sound.
Yeah. Randy, is there any particular brand you guys recommend? Debating on whether to order or have my tuner fabricated. If you're talking about headers, I recommend the Stainless Power, or I'm going to recommend the Cooks.
Yeah.
Cooks are, I would think, $13.80.
Actually, I was looking at it earlier. A non-catted connection for Cooks, inch and 7/8, is going to be about $11.75.
Mm-hmm.
A catted connection is going to be right about $13.80, like Jason said.
Yeah.
So
where these Stainless Power headers right here, these are $742 without a cat.
Without a cat.
With a cat, they're $922.
Okay,
they're going to come with your O2 extensions. They're going to come with bolts. They're going to come with. Here's the thing. I'm going to point something out real quick. Yeah. Just listen to what I'm telling you guys. I recommend, if you're doing any long tube header, I don't care if it's Stainless Power, Stainless Works, a pace setter, some mild steel stuff.
Yeah.
If it's Cooks, America Racing, always reuse your factory gasket that's going to bolt up between this flange here and the cylinder head. Always reuse that, because it's stainless steel. That thing is not going to wear out. It's going to work better than after all the aftermarket gaskets, and it works out great. Is there any gain difference between high flow cats or just the pipes, or what's the difference? Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to say it's probably minimal. It's like 5. It's not a lot. I mean, these things are still pushing. Believe it or not, you're probably thinking, oh my God, there's no way. But it's like 5.
Those flow very well.
They flow very well. The thing is, it's going to knock down a lot of your smell.
Yeah.
Okay? It really is. It's going to definitely kill a lot of the smell you're going to get out of the car.
Like I said earlier, it's going to kill the smell, like you're saying right now, and it's also going to clean up the exhaust sound. So you're not going to get that rasp out of it.
But while we're on the same subject of catalytic converters and non-cats, now if you're going to do a supercharger, or you have a supercharger and you're looking at adding something, I would probably recommend going with non-catted. And the reason why is because a lot of tuners and a lot of aftermarket fuel injectors, they dump a lot of fuel. This thing could possibly rot out on you. Okay, so if that's something that you definitely need to keep in mind. Now, we have run these particular headers with this particular catalytic converter on modified ZL1s, making around 640, 650 to the tires. And believe it or not, they lived. And that was running ID 850s, ID 850s, and they worked out great. But there again, that all depends on the tuner.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the other thing. Our tuner, we made sure to tell our tuner to take his time with it, make sure that we wanted these cats to live. We wanted to check and see if anything was going to happen. We had the customers come back, I want to say after 2 weeks they came back, we checked it. After 2 months they came back, we checked it. One of them came back a year later and we checked it again.
And his was fine.
Fine, no problem.
Fine. And he was making 640 to the tires.
Yes. Manual ZL1, I want to say a 2013, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so just so you guys know, that's what we're at with that. So where are we at with time, Ricardo?
We're actually right on time.
Right on time.
Yeah.
What are we going to give away today?
Today, let's see here, we can do... I think we still have a T-shirt from SEMA. Still got those. Yeah, we still got a shirt consumer. Last one. Last one, guys. We'll do one of those. And let's see here. Let's give away a footwell kit, lighting kit.
Who wants a lighting kit? We'll do a lighting kit as well.
Lighting kit.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to do three things. We're going to give you a 50 t-shirt. We're going to give you a Phastek hat. And we're going to give you your choice of footwell lighting kit as well. Is what we're going to do.
I don't think I have a hat sitting up there on my desk.
You know what? If you're on our Facebook page, if you look at our Facebook page, you'll see that we have a hat on there.
We have Phastek hats out there.
Let's make it simple. Let's do pick a number between 1 and 10. That's what we're going to do.
There we go. Make it simple, make it easy. You know, first one to grab it.
First person. And we're going to give it a minute because sometimes, unfortunately, it doesn't update fast here. Yeah. So sometimes you might pop in and say the number first.
Pick a number between 1 and 10, and you're going to get a 50 t-shirt, a Phastek hat, and
a footwell kit.
Footwell lighting kit. Your color, your choice color on footwell lighting kit. The Phastek hat, we have two different sizes, small and large. The 50 shirt, unfortunately, we only have extra large, unfortunately. But
you get to still sport. Now that's the one from GM we got from Randy Tyler. Randy Tyler, number 6, baby. That's the number. Show him the number back to Ricardo.
Number 6.
Let me see if you. I don't know if you can see that or not, but
number 6, right there.
You're the winner, but it could be number 9. No, it's number 6, Randy. You're the winner, buddy. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us today. If you got any questions, feel free to ask us.
Definitely shoot us a message. I mean, we'll kind of pop in here and answer some of the comments that we might not have touched on. We'll go ahead and get back with you guys. But definitely. Thanks for joining us.
That's Ricardo Salinas. I'm Jason Calzada. If you have any questions, let us know. Thanks, guys. Have a great week.